One of the biggest barriers when it comes to mastery-based learning is figuring out a good system to actually set it up and record it and track progress. So here's an example of a gradebook that you could make. The reason I'm showing you one you could make, I have not found a grading program that I thought did a really good job of clearly communicating the data that I needed to see. So whatever your platform is, if you have a good way of doing it already built into that, go for it. But I wanted to show you a way that you could create something on your own to have control over how you track and process the data that you're gathering from students. So here is what a gradebook could look like. I'm just going to show you a couple things on here. The first thing that I need to emphasize is that the primary method of organizing this data is by skill. Now, I know often in especially secondary classrooms, but most grade books, we organize by assignment, and there's a place where you can record that, but it's important that we're starting by emphasizing the skill because that's the basis of mastery-based learning. So in this gradebook, you'll notice that there are different categories or sections, and each section corresponds to a skill. So we've got a few listed across the top here. Now, underneath that, I have a number of different columns that I can use to record scores. What this allows me to do is to choose for one skill, I can track multiple attempts at that skill. Now you'll notice it says attempt one. I like using attempt as opposed to assignment because it allows me to be a little bit more flexible with my students in terms of what they're doing to demonstrate that proficiency. But if you would like, you can also put an assignment up here. So say, for example, you have a piece of writing that covers a few skills. You could say, and I'll just put this for now, I could have essay number one show up in multiple categories because maybe I'm looking at a number of different skills there. So primary organizing feature is the skill. Secondary is going to be the attempt or assignment, which you'll see here. And then down below, this is where I'm going to start tracking scores. So you'll notice each row is a different student. And I could just put, depending on your scale, maybe for this first attempt, some of these students had these scores. What this lets me do, because there's space under the same skill for their second attempt, I can go in and record their next score, and it allows me to see some trends and if they're growing. So when it comes to setting up a mastery-based gradebook, it doesn't need to be complicated. The biggest thing is organize it by a skill and have space underneath that skill for multiple attempts to be recorded so that you can see the growth or trends in student data and their learning so you have more actionable information that you can use to address with your students.